Thank you. All right, are we ready? Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn entitled Part of the Whole.
Good morning, UUCL. Welcome, everyone. My name is Joshua Sussman. My pronouns are he, him, his, but my friends call me Schwa. I am your worship associate on this beautiful Sunday morning. We welcome you into this sanctuary where we celebrate diversity and learn from one another, no matter our differences, in order to deepen our connection and transform the world with love. Let us begin our worship with these opening words, written by Reverend Gretchen Haley. Know you are not alone, and discover the way our voices rise. For this one moment, know only that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon this earth, in your body, however tired and broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry. For this hour, know that you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light, to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resilience. Come, let us worship together.
Thank you, Joshua. I am Heather Norby. I'm the Spiritual Life Director for this fantastic congregation. I use the pronouns she and her. Did everyone get an order of service? If not, Jacob has plenty more, I'm sure. I am only asking because I don't want to read all of the announcements that were so carefully typed into the order of service. And so I will just point out to you that they are all in there and you can read them on your own. However, I do want to lift up our Wednesday night program, which is Creativity Matters with Melissa McGowie. And she's going to be teaching us watercolors as we create together and build community together. So please come out Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. to the sanctuary to co-create with us. And along those same lines, Popcorn Theology for October, yes, is also with Melissa and Harper, and we're going to be showing K-pop Demon Hunters. Yes? Okay, all right. Woo! So please put that on your calendar. That's the second Wednesday in October. Come on out, we'll watch the movie and discuss its theological perspectives together. Thank you. And now we will create our sacred space.
Oh my goodness. Petra, will you be kind enough to light our chalice?
Thank you, Petra.
No, I don't wanna.
It is an honor to light our chalice.
This flaming chalice is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. We light it each Sunday, as do UU churches around the world, to create sacred space, to connect us with one another, and to remember who we are as people of the faith. The chalice lighting was written by Reverend Margaret Kelp. As surely as we belong to this universe, we belong together. We join here to transcend the isolate self, to reconnect, to know ourselves, to be at home, here on earth, under the stars, linked with one another. Let us rise in body or spirit and sing in English and Spanish, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come
now is the time that I invite our young and our young at heart to come on up for a story. All right, get cozy, get comfy. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, question. What season are we in?
Summer.
I didn't. Are we in fall? Are we in fall? Oh, you don't know? Fall? Do we want to be in fall? Yes. Well, that's a good thing because fall actually starts tomorrow. Starts tomorrow. The autumn equinox, yeah, according to Google, the autumn equinox is at 2:19 p.m. And then we'll be in fall. So no, tomorrow. So today's the last day of summer.
Yay.
Yay. But we're actually going to celebrate the autumn equinox today. What do you think? Okay, great. So I have a story for you. It's called The Apple Tree's Gift, and it's a Mabon wisdom tale. Have you ever heard the word Mabon before? Well, it's the word that that some people use in pagan traditions to, they give that word to the autumn equinox, Mabon. So they say we're celebrating Mabon, we're celebrating autumn. Okay? So let me tell you this story called The Apple Tree's Gift. What kind of gift do you think an apple tree has? Apples, of course. Okay, well, long ago, in a small village nestled between the hills and the woods, there stood an ancient apple tree at the very center of the town square. It had wide, leafy branches and roots that reached deep into the earth. Each year, the tree gave its fruit at just the right time, during the season of golden leaves, when the air grew crisp and cool. Well, what season is that? Fall. In Florida, it kind of is winter, isn't it? Okay. Well, we're gonna say fall for the purposes of the story today. Everyone in the village called it Grandmother Apple because she had stood there for so many years and gave her gifts so freely. Her apples were red, gold, and green, just like the colors of autumn. Some were sweet, some were tart, but all were nourishing. That means they were good for you. Each year at the fall equinox, when the days and nights were equal and the world felt perfectly balanced, the people of the village would gather to celebrate the festival of the harvest. That sounds like fun. Have you been to a harvest festival before? No? Have you? What did it have there? Strawberries? You did go to harvest? Sweet strawberries. Juicy. You ate 20,000 strawberries? That's amazing. Did they have apples? How about pumpkins? Have you been to a festival where there's pumpkins? A field trip when you found pumpkins? Oh, that's so wonderful. So much fun. Okay, so anyway, when they were celebrating the harvest between the hills and the woods, they would pick the apples and say thank you to the tree, using the fruit to make pies, cider, dried rings, and even medicine for little coughs and tummy aches. But one year, something changed. The apples ripened early, and a few villagers started picking the fruit in secret before the harvest festival. We'll save them for our family, they whispered, just in case there aren't enough later. And one by one, others did the same. Oh no, they're all picking them in secret. Is that a good choice? No, probably not gonna have. By the time the festival day came, the branches were nearly bare. The children looked up in surprise. Where did the apples go? They asked.
The oldest villager, a kind woman named Mira, looked around and said gently, "It seems we all were afraid there wouldn't be enough, so we forgot to share." Oops. But Grandmother Apple has always given freely, and her gifts have lasted through many winters. Then the elder walked up to the tree and placed one shiny apple she had saved in her basket onto the ground beneath it. And one by one, others followed. Oh, so they're taking all those apples that they took in secret and they're giving them back. Is that a good choice? Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to do. Some gave apples, some gave dried slices, others shared juice, jam, or even apple seeds to plant new trees. The festival became not about having the most, but about sharing the best of what they had. Do you like to share? Yeah. What happens when you share? What's that? Being nice. You're being nice? How does it feel? You're taking care of others. Does that feel good? Yeah? Yeah? What do you think? What happens when you share? More people have more food. That's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah. We're some wise children. Which, of course, means they have wise parents. That year, the village felt warmer in spirit, even as the days grew colder, because everybody shared. And Grandmother Apple Tree, well, the next spring, her blossoms were more beautiful than ever. Her roots felt the love that had been returned. The end. What a nice little story, isn't it? Yeah, and so that story uplifts our shared UU value of generosity, right? Generosity that reminds us to share with each other, share what we have, which sometimes is a thing, sometimes it's food, sometimes it's toys, and sometimes it's just kindness, just kind words from our heart. So I'm going to give you all an opportunity to share today. What do you think? Yeah? Because somebody shared with us. Somebody made dried apple slices. Isn't that nice? And so we're going to share them with the congregation. What do you think? You want to help pass them out? Peter got some tongs, so you don't have to touch them. You can just use the tongs to hand them, just in case somebody wants to eat them, right? Yeah, so, and we'll also say thank you to Adam, because he's the one who had them baking all night. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. And so, and while you're doing that, go ahead, pass them out to the grown-ups. Share with the grown-ups, and see how that feels to share with the grown-ups. I will also remind you that the Jewish New Year is coming up. It starts Monday night and continues through Wednesday. And I do think we'll have apples and honey in the social hall after service to help celebrate the Jewish New Year as well. So we're going to have the kids pass out the apple rings, and they're going to give to you. And while they're giving to you, we'll have our sharing of abundance.
Okay.
Two things at once. I think we can do it.
Here we gather, tucked back in this friendly neighborhood, between the beautiful tall pines. We are a community of people who have arrived through many different paths, yet we seek a common goal. With our time, talents, and treasures. Our shared UU value of generosity calls us to covenant with one another that we freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources, so that the dream of a beloved community becomes a reality.
Yes, today is a Share the Plate collection, which means we are sharing half of our your gifts with a organization that the Social Justice Committee has decided upon. Sherry, do you want to tell us briefly about that?
Sure.
Yes, come on up here and use the microphone so everybody can hear. Yeah, that's good.
Get an apple slice. I need an apple slice. You're almost this tall.
Yes, thank you so much. How was that sharing? How'd that sharing go? Good. I'm so glad. Go on out and have a fun time together. Tell us about Reed Lakeland. Okay, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sherry, and my pronouns are she, her, and parrot head. All right, so I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan. Okay, this month, the passion for the Social Justice Committee, let there be light. That was amazing. Is education and literacy. And so we do a share the plate, and half of what we collect here goes to this, whichever partner that we pick. And this month we voted, a few people voted anyway, and the winner was Read Literacy. And I'm gonna read you a little bit about what they do. They were founded in 1995 here. Read Lakeland is dedicated to improving the quality of life in our community through teaching basic literacy skills to adult non-readers and promoting adult literacy. They offer one-to-one tutoring and small group instruction to an estimated, this surprised me, 24% of adults in Lakeland who are functioning at the lowest levels of literacy. So it's really helpful to those in our community that need that help. So that's what the Share the Plate is for today. They also appreciate volunteers. Thanks.
Okay, so our ushers will now pass the plate. So, as always, I remind you, dig deep, dig often.
Thank you all for your gifts and for sharing with folks outside of our community as well. This is one way we make a difference in the world around us. Oh. Ken, would you please light the healing candle for me today? We light the healing candle each week to remind us to keep practicing compassion, a compassion so strong that it can help heal the wounds that keep us apart. It is a courageous practice in a world that seems to care so little. Let us call upon the spirit of life and love in this moment to remind us to not stop caring, just because facing the world has become so overwhelming. Instead, let us gather from one another a hopeful energy that will sustain us as we continue to dismantle systems that encourage violent rhetoric. Spirit of life and love, center us in our values and guide us towards the ways that heal. Stay with us through the difficult moments of fear and frustration and lead us towards harmony and an ultimate beauty. Amen, and may we make it so. Our ritual of the sharing of joys and sorrows is a prayerful time in which we listen to our hearts, minds, bodies, and souls to discern what it is we need in this moment of healing. This ritual allows for us to connect our lives and deepen our faith in the understanding that we belong to one another. We are here to care for each other, and through caring, we illuminate the beauty of our interdependence. In our Joys and Sorrows book, you are able to write any significant joy or sorrow occurring in your life that you would like for the congregation to know. Today, we have a note from Crystal, who's not here, but who was here the other day setting up tech for us. And she wrote us a note with the title, Bad News Beetles, exclamation point. She said, sadly, we have to remove one of our precious pine trees. We are treating the others, trying to save them. So apparently the beetles have been attacking our pine trees. She says we will plant new trees. She also would like us to know that today is her nephew's birth date. Her nephew passed away a couple years ago. And so she's spending time with her sister. So please send healing energy to her and to the trees. Thank you. Emily writes, and Emily was here this morning. She writes, I am disappointed I was unable to stay for service today, but I'm very excited that I will be going to Phoenix for the first time. My job is sending me there for training, so I can't wait to see how much I'm going to learn out there. Thank you, Emily. And Julia says, returning here is like stepping into a cool, running stream. The rocks, stones, plants, fish are all here. Julia, thank you. Whatever it is we have shared and whatever it is we have not shared, we join in this prayer together. You are not alone. We are holding it together. I invite you now to come forward for a ritual of joys and sorrows. You may take whichever stone or stones feels right to you and drop it in the bowl, connecting to others and feeling the power of being together in this community. Thank you. Deidre will put stones in for those joining us on Zoom and on our streaming services. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. As our stones mingle together today, may they bring you all much love, support, and joy. Thank you.
September Meditation, written by Burton D. Carley. I do not know if the seasons remember their history, or if the days and nights by which we count time remember their own passing. I do not know if the oak tree remembers its planting, or if the pine remembers its slow climb toward the sun and stars. I do not know if the squirrel remembers last fall's gathering, or if the blue jay remembers the meaning of snow. I do not know if the air remembers September, or if the night remembers the moon. I do not know if the earth remembers the flowers from last spring, or if the evergreen remembers that it shall stay so. Perhaps that is the reason for our birth, to be the memory for creation. Perhaps salvation is something very different than anyone ever expected. Perhaps this will be the only question we will have to answer. What can you tell me about September?
September brings us the autumn equinox. Because we remember September's past, we know that the nights will be longer and the days shorter. And because of this, the weather will become more comfortable for us here in subtropical Florida. And for some of us, our memories extend back into times when we lived north of here, when September meant sweater weather and changing leaves that gloriously sing of the cycles of life, the cycles in which death is not final, only a transformation which continues to support the living. And so, we remember, and we remember so we can contemplate and celebrate. To begin our ritual for the celebration of the autumn season today, we will call the directions. I would like to invite my 4 participants from our Practice Matters session today to come on up. You can come line up behind me to use the microphone. In the pagan tradition, which is grounded in a respect and reverence for the natural world, calling upon the 4 directions is the usual way to begin any ceremony. Each direction is associated with an element of the natural world and represents some part of our human nature as well. The directions are not seen as separate and isolated, but rather as part of the interdependent system that makes up the world. Here in our altar, our autumn equinox altar, we have the symbolic elements for each direction, and we will travel through the meanings associated with each direction before entering into a time of short meditation. And so I'll ask that you rise in body or spirit, and we'll start by facing the doors in the back of the sanctuary.
We begin in the east toward the rising sun. The element of the east is air, represented on our altar by a feather. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction of inspiration, the word that literally means to take in air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Imagine the birds turning and wheeling in the air. Imagine the breeze blowing through your hair. Turning toward the east, we look for a fresh start, an invigorating breath, a new idea. When you are feeling stuck in a rut, beholden to a routine, or if the wind has gone out of your sails, look eastward.
Now we turn to the right and face the south.
We move around the wheel to the south. The element of the south is fire, and in the southern place on our altar, the flame of our chalice burns bright. Fire is a transformative force. It is heat and light and powerful change. In the northern hemisphere, it makes sense that we associate the south towards the equator with the warmth of the sun and the heat of the flame. We see birds move south, butterflies move south, whales move south, seeking warmer places when the weather gets cold. When our internal weather gets cold, turning south is a metaphor for turning towards warmth and daylight, seeking out the changes that will warm us up, get our blood moving, call us out of our winters and out of hibernation and into action.
Now we turn to the right towards the front of the sanctuary.
Continuing around the circle, we arrive in the west. The element of the west is water, and here on our altar, we have some of the water collected at our ingathering services each September. We add to this water each year, symbolizing the way we come together in our community as individual drops join into a mighty river. In the west, we are drawn into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Our emotions move in us like water flowing through our lives, sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent, but always flowing. When we dam up our feelings, just like when we dam up a river, the pressure builds until it finds an outlet. If you're seeking to get in touch with your inner life, with your emotions, turn towards the west.
Now we turn to the right and face the patio.
We move now to the north. The element of the north is earth, represented here by some dirt from our own garden. There is stability here, the ground of our being. The north represents the place that holds us, that allows us time and space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It is also the place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self with the concrete, tangible world around us. The north calls to you if you are seeking balance, the deep wisdom that lives in your bones, a place of rest and recovery.
We have moved through these four directions, given them shape and meaning. East, air, breath, and inspiration. South, fire, transformation, and action. West, water, feeling, and reflection. North, earth, balance, and wisdom. So I invite you now to turn toward the direction that calls to you today. You can stay in your seat, you can stand, you can turn your head or your whole body, but orient yourself toward one of the directions, the element that speaks to you and your life right now. Maybe the direction that can help you answer the question, what do you remember about September? And we will take just a moment of silence, and then I'll ring the singing bowl, and we'll come back together. So go ahead and orient yourself towards the direction that is calling to you. will sing together now a song that will help us to bring autumn into our lives. Yes, go ahead and rise and body your spirit and join us in singing. First, we're going to do some.
Summertime has turned the star wheel, autumn is upon us. Summertime has turned the star wheel, autumn is upon us. Sweet the inkling song, sweet upon the air, the smell of blue mist rises. Summertime has turned the star wheel, autumn is upon us. Glorious the trees, glorious the sight of rust leaves falling, falling. Summertime has turned the star wheel, autumn is upon us.
Thank you. Perhaps that is the reason for our births, to be the memory for creation. Perhaps this will be the only question we will have to answer. What can you tell me about September? How did you feel when you heard this poem that Joshua read? Any feelings? I found it to be haunting, actually. Haunting in a way that filled me with mystery and with truth. Haunting in a way that called to me with curiosity and an invitation to spiritual play. Haunting because I can remember many Septembers, and those memories fuel my drive to keep creating beauty in this world so that all of life can thrive. I am a Unitarian Universalist who walks down the spiritual path of religious naturalism, or as some others have called it, spiritual naturalism, or even reverential naturalism. And I'm inviting all of you to walk down this path with me today. If salvation is about eternal life, and if the world and the universe we travel in is all that exists, then remembering it is what saves us. I don't mean a sentimental or nostalgic kind of remembering necessarily, but a remembering that draws on the experiences that motivate us, keep us hopeful, and empower us to stand up to the powers that seek to destroy life and to dishonor it by forgetting what it is and how we got here. Religious naturalism makes the theological proclamation that nature is all that exists. It is to believe that nature is everything and everything is nature. All of existence, humans, animals, God, if you choose to use that word, everything in this world and this universe is nature. And because of that, there is no hierarchy of beings and certainly no hierarchy of human beings. We all belong to nature. In other words, humans, God, and nature are not separate things, but are all within an interconnected, non-supernatural whole. In other words, religious naturalism is monistic, meaning it holds the belief that everything is made of the same substance, versus a dualism, which holds the belief that body and spirit or soul are separate entities made of different substances. We can also use our building belonging metaphor that we've been engaging in this month to try to understand it, and say that religious naturalists would perceive us and all that exists as the mortar and the bricks and the builders. Whereas traditional Christianity might say something like, we humans are the bricks and God is the builder. Religious naturalism, because it is founded on the core belief that nature is all that exists, denies the existence of a personal God operating outside of the physical universe. In this view, humans are not special creations with dominion over nature, but biological beings made of natural substances and shaped by evolutionary processes. And so religious naturalism as a theological perspective finds religious meaning, purpose, and value within the natural world, seeing it as the ultimate source of all that is. And we are inspired by feelings of awe, reverence, and wonder at its power, complexity, and beauty. We may perceive the evolutionary process as a miracle in and of itself, and become deeply curious about how it has worked throughout millions of years of hominid evolution. Studying the scientific processes of evolution and life on Earth leads us to the understanding that we are all made of the same thing and shaped by the same processes. And so religious naturalists understand that we all belong to this earth and to one another. Furthermore, because of this belonging, it is understood that we are relational in nature, part of an interdependent web of life in which what happens in one part pulls on and tugs at all the other parts. We cannot escape our connections, and that is just a matter of fact. As one proponent summarizes, religious naturalism seeks and facilitates human reconnection with oneself, family, larger human community, local and global ecosystem, and unitary universe. So I'm inviting you today into what I once heard a professor of mine call spiritual play, and to travel down this path of religious naturalism with me to consider, what if? What if we hold the perspective of religious naturalism and we proclaim that salvation isn't something that happens when we die? It is not something that happens on some other spiritual plane, but instead insist that salvation is now, and it is here. We are the life that has been born from the life before us, the life born from this earth and its evolutionary processes, and remembering all of that is our purpose. Astronomer and planetary scientist Carl Sagan famously stated, "The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself." It is difficult in today's political climate to remember that we are all made of that holy, sacred star stuff, and therefore we all belong. In a nation built on colonialist ideology and problematic patriarchal theology, in which God is out there somewhere watching us, waiting to punish us, and which proposes the dualism of good versus evil, we were likely not taught to think in ways that are wholly inclusive, ways centered in love, expansive, broad-sweeping, awe-inspiring, naturalism-based universalist theology. And so, we should practice different ways of thinking and being in here, in this sanctuary, together. Because here in this sanctuary, centered in love and our value of pluralism, we aspire to learn from each other, to shift perspective, to adjust our beingness, and to be a part of a positive transformation. Today we celebrate the change of seasons so that we can remember and reconnect to the earth, our place of belonging. We honor change so that we can remember that Grandmother Apple Tree will provide enough food, and even more so if we share and take care of one another, because what if we're all we've got? May contemplation be a part of our celebration so that we can remember that the four elements of air, fire, water, and earth will be here to sustain us we remember to take care of them, because they are within us and us in them. Because what if that's where all living things return to when we die? We are now going to take some time for interaction with our autumn equinox altar, and for a short guided meditation and some quiet contemplation. Because if we are the bricks and the builders, we need to build robust spiritual practices that connect us and help us tap into our intuition, the one that remembers who we are and how we got here. And so we have an autumn altar set up. It is rooted in our values, that is our foundation. And I am going to invite you into a spiritual play that will allow you to come up to pick an item or two. And of course, you all got apples, you might have eaten them, but if you still have them, you're welcome to use those as well. And shells, did you know that? You can harvest shells in the autumn time in Florida. That's why the shells are there. And so I'm now going to ask you to pick up an item that you will use during a guided meditation, something to contemplate with, something that will help you remember September and remember who we are as human beings and that we all belong. So go ahead and come on up and get something. Okay. You have your items. I'm going to ask you to hold them, touch them, feel them, connect with them. Connect to nature, remembering that you are nature. Nature is everything. What does your item tell you about nature? How does it remind you that you are a part of it, and it a part of you? Let us ask, what if it is in remembering September, when the leaves begin to drop back into the soil, reuniting with the natural world? What if it is in remembering this that we can save ourselves? What if it is in remembering that our immortality, our everlasting salvation, comes from becoming part of the ongoing story of nature And that discovering that leads us to remember that we all belong to one another. What if remembering that we all belong is what will support the thriving of all living beings? Connect to nature, with yourself and with life. And consider this an opportunity to begin a contemplative practice that you will take out of the sanctuary with you, that can remind you of who and what we are. I'm going to let you just sit in some quiet. Notice the emotions and the experiences that arise within you, and ask yourself how all of that can connect you to Mother Earth and to others. And I will ring the singing bowl when we are done.
This is an excerpt from Deeply Woven Roots by Gary Gunderson. It is hard not to look up in awe into the high reaches of a deep and healthy forest. But the true story is in the dirt, the roots, and what the forest loam, and what is forest loam but fallen trees. Everywhere you look in a natural forest, you see trees on their way to loam, and soil on its way to the sky. I think a congregation and its surrounding community as a forest, an image that leads us to the future in two ways. First, we see ourselves as one with the trees, one of the trees, taking comfort in the complex richness of our enduring connection. Second, we see ourselves as foresters, with a humble patience of stewards who measure the contribution in terms of decades, nurturing and defending the living process. Although the forest may span miles, any one tree has to grow where it happens to sprout, hoping to bear its fruit it can. Some are more resilient than others. Some keep growing even after they're knocked down. The big difference is whom they grew next to, whose roots tangle with their own. A forest's resilience reflects its diversity. Any one tree relies not just on its own roots, but on the interwoven fabric of roots. And while it is a good thing to put down roots, grow into the wind, and rise high into the sky, it is also good to know that even in our falling, even as our individual memories slip away behind, we will continue to be part of the whole.
Thank you. Well, I hope that you will take what we started here today out with you into your personal life to begin practices that help to connect you with nature and an understanding of who we are and the world around us and how we all got to be here. And I hope that you will come join us and others out in the community in moments of co-creation. Because as we cultivate our own spiritual selves, we need to then intermingle those roots, right? And grow together and create together so that we can come up with new ways of being out in the world and new ways of stopping violence and stopping oppression and growing love and justice and peace and joy. And so those are the actions and the ways of being that I am hoping that you take from here today and out into the world with you. And so Joshua will read our closing words.
There is religion in everything around us. Written by John Ruskin. There is religion in everything around us. A calm and holy religion in the unbreathing things of nature. It is a meek and blessed influence, stealing in, as it were, unaware upon the heart. It comes quickly and without excitement. It has no terror, no gloom. It does not rouse up the passions. It is untamable by creeds. It is written on the arched sky. It looks out from every star. It is on the sailing cloud and in the invisible wind. It is among the hills and valleys of the earth where the shrubless mountaintops pierce the thin atmospheres of eternal winter, and where the mighty forest fluctuates before the strong wind with its dark waves of green foliage. It is spread out like a legible language upon the broad face of an unsleeping ocean. It is the poetry of nature. It is that which uplifts the spirit within us and which opens our imagination to a world of spiritual beauty and holiness.
Thank you. And now we will sing our closing song. It's another new one from our virtual hymnal. It's called My Religion. And the choir will lead us, yes? Okay.
1, 2, 3. Forests and fields and seas. My religion is this web of life in my connection to all beings. My religion is the wheel of the year in the moon and stars above. My religion is to hold all of this with love, love, love. My religion is this beautiful earth, forest and fields and seas. My religion is this web of life and my connection to all beings. My religion is the wheel of the year in the moon and stars above. My religion is to hold all of this with love, love, love.
Thank you. Not bad for our first time a cappella. All right, good job.
Teacher, Will you extinguish our chalice?
We extinguish this chalice, but not the truth, the warmth of love, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Oh, we'll go out into the world now, remembering September, remembering who we are and how we are connected. And remember that you are loved, you are worthy, and you are a blessing.
So are we.
And we'll see you in the social hall for more apples, and some honey, and some snacks, and good times.
I was going